Crimson Trace announces Laser Guard Pro for today's most popular concealed carry firearms, combining a red or green laser sight with 150 lumen light, taking personal defense to the next level. Available now at your local dealer.
Today on Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. The Ninth Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals just ruled there is no Second Amendment right for members of the general public to carry concealed firearms in public. Thoughts from Frank Miniter, plus Gene Hoffman from CalGuns Foundation and Jeff Hoffman from Black Hills Ammunition. And an early after show. Call in now at 866-TALK-GUN. Now, here's Tom.
Alrighty, it is Gun Talk, and I am Tom Gresham. I'm here to be with you today. We are going to do this thing just a little bit differently. We have so much to talk about. Obviously, the news that broke this morning, we'll talk about that. I am actually in studio with the rest of the studio crew. Normally, as you probably well know, I'm down in Louisiana, and the crew is up here in Ohio, but I am up here, and we have Tom and Jim and Michelle, where I can wave at them and make funny faces at them. Yeah, hey, Michelle. So we're going to be having some fun. Actually, if you're a fan of the after show, we're going to make hour 3 today the whole after show. The whole thing's going to be insane. So we'll be doing some of that. Now, if you woke up as I did this morning, you know, of course, about the terrorist attack in Orlando, Florida, at the nightclub favored by LBGT members or clientele. Interesting, it comes 1 week after we were talking with the Pink Pistols here on Gun Talk. We will have much to say about that. It is, I think, not that it's going to dissuade them, but the gun ban lobby is going to have to work its way around the fact that this is a terrorist attack to say, well, see, we should do something about, but then they're going, but what do we do with this? So we'll get into that. We will definitely get into that. But actually, the thing I want to talk about right off the bat, because there's something real important that just happened in California. Not a good thing. We're going to need some help understanding this. It's a new decision by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, which in essence said there is no Second Amendment right to carry guns concealed. Well, helping me to sort all of this out, explain it, we're joined by Gene Hoffman from the CalGuns Foundation. Hello, Gene. Welcome.
Hi, Tom. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. So, back up. I probably did not explain this well. Explain what just happened with the Ninth Circuit.
Well, the key way to think about it is the Ninth Circuit built the straw man out of the actual case. Our actual case is that there's no way to carry a firearm loaded, unloaded, openly concealed anywhere where population happens in California. You know, there are certainly places in the middle of nowhere where your biggest risk is getting bit by a rattlesnake, but of course, 2/3 of crime happens outside your home, and it doesn't generally happen in the rural areas. Mm-hmm. So instead of actually engaging with the argument we were making, which is the legislature's made it very clear in California that the only way you can carry in San Francisco or Los Angeles is to have a carry license, they said, well, there's no right to conceal carry, and we're not going to talk about whether you have a right to open carry. Now, of course, the dissent, called them on this exactly, and it's important for everyone to know that this is a case we had originally won 2-1 under the theory that, of course, this is the only way we can carry in California. Now, the funny part is, of course, I don't know that the federal judiciary has really thought through what that means our next steps are.
What do you mean by that?
Well, that tells me that the Federal Gun-Free School Zones Act is likely unconstitutional because there's no way to carry in San Francisco without being within 1,000 feet of a school. And, by the way, that's, the only way apparently you can carry in California, and that means that all the state laws banning the carrying of unconcealed loaded firearms are unconstitutional as well.
Now, how is that? I'm not following, Gene, because if they've just said there is no right to carry a gun concealed, how does that negate the other laws?
Well, that's what I'm saying, is it means it must be a right to carry openly, right? Because otherwise there is no right to bear arms at all.
Right, because the Supreme Court has said there is a right to bear arms, so you can't ban every form of carry. So if they're banning concealed carry, then what they're saying is then open carry must be legal as a matter of course, right?
Yeah, well, of course, but hey, asterisk, of course the 7 people who voted against this also think that open carry is constitutional, the bans on it are. But we're going to put them in that corner. I mean, the reality is that, you can't go this direction. And we saw this in Ohio. The Ohio Supreme Court said that you could ban concealed carry, but that meant that you had to actually let people open carry and you couldn't harass them. And then all of a sudden, Ohio went shall issue.
Okay, so what happens? I know people are saying, well, gee, this gets appealed to the Supreme Court. The current makeup of the Supreme Court is this even court right now. Obviously, this would not make it to the Supreme Court until after the election. Would you care to weigh in on that one?
Well, I think it means that November is extremely important. And the reason November is extremely important is, as much as I tell you that supposedly that open carry would be constitutional here, it's not going to be, especially in a Clinton-appointed court. Mm-hmm. And at this point, the only places that we've won the right to carry somewhat are the D.C. District and Illinois. And if we do not put someone in who will appoint a pro-Bill of Rights, pro-Second Amendment justice, we will lose carry in New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts, California, Hawaii for at least a generation.
Well, more than that, for a generation, and I say that during the course of that generation, the culture will change. You will have a new generation that grows up without that will have no particular interest in pursuing it.
Well, I think that's true, but it's not completely true. Carry is so important, but at the same time, the rest of these items aren't as bleak. Even here in the Ninth Circuit, we've got courts ruling that Alameda County can't redline gun stores. Mm-hmm. That background checks have to be sane and rational and logical and not just to annoy gun owners. So there are major strides in the right direction to keep the gun culture alive in these enemy territory states.
Right.
But, look, the problem is this, gun culture and keeping the right, those are beautiful. Those are wonderful. We need to do them. The person who can't get a carry license because they live in Los Angeles or San Francisco, and, oh, by the way, they're gay, and they want to go to one of these parties,
right, and
something bad happens to them, that is the death toll of the judiciary not taking the Constitution seriously.
Well, exactly. And as I said last week, I know you know Nikki. We had Nikki on from Pink Pistols. We were talking about exactly this thing. Now we have this terrorist attack in a gay bar, a nightclub in Orlando, where, at least from the initial reports, I don't know that anyone there had a gun. It may even be one of these places where they frisk you, search you when you go in to make sure you don't. And then, of course, now no one can protect anyone, certainly not themselves. You're a keen observer of the political process, the landscape. Your thoughts on the reaction to this on all the parties?
I think it's terrorism, and I think when it's terrorism, it's not going to have much to do with gun control. I mean, the right. problem you run into is that Paris was as bad or worse, right? Mm-hmm. So from that perspective, it is not about the availability of guns. It may be about the availability, the lack of availability to carry legally inside that establishment. Right. If I remember correctly from my Florida permit, that you can't be in a place that serves more than 50% alcohol, and I expect that's what that is.
Yeah. I suspect you're right. Gene, a lot going on, and I know that this Ninth Circuit decision is huge. It goes to the point that you made with me some 6 weeks ago when I was talking about the Supreme Court, and you said, yes, but it's also about the lower courts. It's about the appeals courts. It's about the federal courts. It's about every level of judges and justices that get appointed and nominated by the next president. This is, if you ever saw something that said this election means something, this is it.
That's absolutely right. I mean, the issue is, it's much easier when we win and they have to appeal, and then the court's not favorable to them. And that's not been the case in a lot of cases, right? It's now, we're lucky when we get a Clinton appointee or an Obama appointee to actually follow the law.
Right. Exactly right. Gene, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Gene Hoffman from CalGuns Foundation. Check it out. More information at calgunsfoundation.org. Okay, we are open lines for you right now. 866-TALK-GUN or just dial 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. We can talk about Orlando. We can talk about this terrorist attack. We can talk about what you think it's going to mean. And also, have you gone online in the last hour or two to any of the websites that are selling ammunition? Are you watching the stock go down, down, down? 866-TALK-GUN.
In the field or on the range, you need a trigger you can trust. For over 60 years, Timney triggers have been trusted by hunters and shooters everywhere. A Timney trigger could mean the difference between a great shot and a miss. Timney triggers are proudly made in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. To order, go to timneytriggers.com. That's TIMNEY triggers.com.
Here at silencershop.com, we normally focus on making the world a quieter place. Not today. Rule 41F takes effect soon, making silencer ownership more complicated. The good news is silencershop.com can help, but don't delay. Purchase any in-stock silencer by July 6th, and Silencer Shop guarantees to get your Form 4 submitted and execute your transfer before deadline under current rules, or give you $100. The Powered by Silencer Shop guarantee. Details and restrictions at silencershop.com.
If you're like me, you don't have money to burn, but you still want to buy guns, ammo, and accessories. That's why we created Gun Dealio. That's a free, yes, a free smartphone app. Just download it and start getting the deals. Could be discounts, offers of free magazines for your gun, or you could be the first to hear about new stuff from gun makers. Here's how it works. With Gun Dealio on your phone, you get alerts when you enter a gun store. Special deals, you know. You don't have to do a thing. It'll do a lot of other cool things, like let you watch gun videos and listen to Gun Talk podcast. Plus, check it anytime for hundreds of deals and offers. Getting more while spending less. Smart, huh? Gun Dealio. Made in America. Gluten-free. At the App Store and Google Play or gundealio.com.
In the war on terror, fighting crime in the streets, in competition and homes around the world, one name in firearms stands out: Sig Sauer. Our pistols and rifles are renowned for their unfailing performance. This same commitment to excellence can be found in our line of SigTac accessories and the training offered by the Sig Sauer Academy. For unmatched quality, reliability, and innovation when it counts, choose Sig Sauer. Visit sigsauer.com today.
All right, back with you. 866-TALK-GUN gets you in here. I'm Tom Gresham. The show is called Gun Talk. We can talk about pretty much anything you want to talk about, but if you would like, we can certainly talk about the whole, this thing that just happened in Orlando. It's a horrible massacre, terrorist attack. It appears very clear at this point this was a terrorist attack. We're actually on a trip right now. This morning woke up with having breakfast with some friends, not from the gun world. And the lady asked me, well, what does the NRA feel about these? This is before we knew what it was, just knew that there was a mass shooting. What does the NRA feel about this? What does the NRA plan to do about this? And of course, it opens the door to the whole, well, what would you like? We address safe and responsible gun ownership. We oppose the misuse of guns. We oppose murder. We oppose brutal attacks. And my guess is, I would say, this is probably not an NRA member. It's a member of ISIL or ISIS or whoever it happens to be. What would you have them do? What would you have law-abiding gun owners do to prevent a terrorist from killing people? Understanding that a terrorist does not need to go to a gun store to get a gun. Can get a bomb. I mean, come on. ISIS has tanks and armored personnel carriers and firearms quite literally by the shipload. And it's really, really, really easy to bring them in illegally. I mean, if you could bring in people, it's really easy to bring in stuff illegally. And let's see, heroin, marijuana, pick your drug of choice, cocaine. You can't keep them out. So the question is, what would you have us do? Those of us who are safe, responsible, law-abiding, honest, what would you have us do? Line 2, Ron's with us in Wagner, Oklahoma. Hey, Ron, welcome to Gun Talk.
I was hanging on what your previous guest was talking about, and pretty much the last statement was, it would be surprising if we could ever find an Obama or a Clinton appointee in the Supreme Courts that would follow the law. And I thought, that covers a whole lot of areas besides the one we're discussing now.
Doesn't
What
it,
are the terms of impeachment for Supreme Court justices who do not do their jobs.
Well, here's the problem. Define do their job.
Okay, that's interpret and enforce the Constitution and the laws thereof without making them up as they go.
Well, they would be their position. That's exactly what they're doing. They look at it and interpret it that the Second Amendment means that the National Guard can have a gun, et cetera, et cetera. So they would just say this is just a difference of opinion, but this is our opinion. That's why you need people who have the right opinions, who their opinion is we should go back and actually find out what the people who wrote these laws, these amendments, the Constitution, what they actually said and what they meant and their background and all of that. I know what you're saying. Let me just nip this in the bud. Nobody's going to impeach a Supreme Court justice. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Any more than anybody's going to impeach. They're not going to throw out a president. Although we do have an impeached president. Bill Clinton was impeached. A lot of people do not know that. Are people aware that Bill Clinton was successfully impeached? Now, impeached does not mean removed from office, which is the other part of the thing, of course. Impeached is one thing, and then removed from office is a separate thing altogether. It bears a little bit of scrutiny. So, I mean, there you go. That's it's interesting. I'm struggling. You can probably hear it. I have been saying how important this election is, and everybody goes, yeah, we've heard it before. And you look at this terrorist attack, and I thought Gene did a great job of comparing it to the attack in Paris, where, of course, they don't have the gun laws that we do. They have very, very strict gun laws, and they had a terrorist attack there that was worse than this. So we have a terrorist attack here, and people want to go, well, it's got to be the gun laws. Well, no. They don't have access to guns there. We do have access to guns here. Same kind of thing. I mean, people who will fly airliners into buildings to murder thousands of people are not really going to be turned away when they say, well, gee, I can't go to Uncle Bob's gun shop and buy that 10/22 I wanted. So, no, that's not what they do. That's not how they work. They are murderers. People say, well, how can we, it's funny, people will say, how can we stop this? They don't actually mean stop it the way you and I think of it. When they say stop, they mean prevent. How do we prevent it? I don't know the answer to that. But I do know the answer to the original question, which was, how do we stop this? You shoot them between the eyes. Tom, you went there again, didn't you? Yes, I did. Was there no one in this place who could shoot this SOB? Probably not. Chances are they have security. Now, the reports we're getting is that this murderer was actually used to be security at this place. He worked as a security guard. Here's a question for you. You're in a place and they say, oh, you don't need a gun here because we have security guards. What if one of the security guards starts killing people? Ooh, I never thought of that. INTOT, right? If you never thought of that, if you say, I never imagined that, my response is, you need a better imagination. Because if you can't imagine it, you can't prepare for it. You can't mentally get yourself ready for it. So, what do? Well, you don't go on a personal level, okay? You don't go to places where they won't let you carry. You just don't go to places where they won't let you carry. Yeah, but I want to go. No, I don't care. But they're having I don't care. It's not safe. There's no one there who will protect you. There's no one there who will protect you. Only you are going to protect you. 911 isn't going to protect you. A cell phone isn't going to protect you. Line 1, Gary's with us out of Oklahoma. Hey, Gary, welcome to Gun Talk.
Hey, thanks for having me. I am almost fed up with the President of the United States continuously allowing known terrorists, his words for them, not mine, to roam our streets free to take cheap political shots at the NRA and American gun owners by trying to ban those on the no-fly list from buying guns. The easy way to keep terrorists from buying guns is throw them in the pen, and they'll be well past terrorist stage by the time they're able to get out and ever touch a gun again.
Yeah, Gary, it's a good point. People say, well, if you're on the terrorist watch list, you should be able to get a gun. Well, no, it's a constitutional right. It's like the right for free speech and assembly and religion. You don't take that away from somebody because some agency somewhere decided that they would put you on a list based on websites that you visited or books that you read, which is what happens here. If you want to take someone's Second Amendment gun rights away, there are ways to do that. You can go to court. You can convict them of a crime. There are several paths for that. But that's not what they want to do. They say, we just want to be able to add your name to a list and strip you of your rights. No due process, no appeal, not even the right to know who did it. Who was responsible for this? Who put you on the list? That's President Obama's idea of freedom. We will have a secret agency who will put you on a list, unbeknownst to you, and then at that point, not only can you not fly on the airlines, so you lose the ability to travel, but you lose your rights to own a gun if they had their way, and you can't even go find out who did it or what the criteria is or anything. It is patently un-American. It is certainly unconstitutional. And it is anti-liberty, a word that has fallen out of favor, liberty. I think it's time that we bring that back into our conversation, and many of us bring up that word as many times as possible when we're talking to our friends. So what is your take? As you're looking at this, and you're hearing people talking about this terrorist attack in Orlando, Florida, at least 50 dead, maybe 53 injured, what do you think? Does it cause you to do anything? Are you buying ammo? Are you buying anything? Are you moving on that? Are you talking to your family? What is it? Give us a holler, 866-TALK-GUN. That'll get you in here. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk. We'll be right back with your calls.
Sign up for our Gun Talk newsletter and join the Truth Squad at www.guntalk.com. Now, back to Gun Talk with Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
Oh, yeah. They're just crawling out of the woodwork, aren't they? The folks are wanting to say, the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. No, it's not. It's not a mass shooting at all. It's a terrorist attack. They want to call it a mass shooting because they want to say it's about guns. Gene Hoffman made a great point the previous half hour. He said, look, this is just like the shootings in Paris, where, of course, they have strict gun control laws, except that Paris was worse. It's not about gun laws. It's not about the so-called mythical easy access to guns. It's about people who are motivated to murder a lot of people. For whatever reason, for a religion, for a belief, for a cause, for whatever. And our government, federal, state, local, saying, you are required to be a victim. We will prohibit you from being able to protect yourself or your loved ones. In these circumstances, we will create certain places where murderers can go in and kill as many people as possible, and no one will be able to protect them. That's what the legislature does when it says these places are off limits to legal people who have guns. A gun-free sign, a gun-free zone is some governmental body saying you must die so we can feel good about ourselves. Your child must die so we can feel good at cocktail parties. It's immoral, it's unconscionable, and we should find everyone who votes for these things and track them down and vote them out of office. We should make this a key point of the November election. Anybody at any level of government, from city council on, who supports any form of gun-free zone around schools, around businesses, in restaurants, in bars, anywhere, vote the SOBs out. Get involved. If this doesn't motivate you, I do not know what will. Line 3, Chuck's joined us out of Garland, Texas. Chuck, thanks for your patience. How are you?
Thanks, Tom. I enjoy your show. Hey, I got a question for you, but I'd like to make a remark about this Orlando thing real quick.
Sure.
I mean, you got another crazy radical person killing another bunch of innocent people in another place where, without a doubt, everybody's disarmed.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to hear about this at work tomorrow because I have this, like, super liberal coworker, and he's going to be all about guns, completely ignoring all of the relevant facts in this case. None of my guns were involved in this. None of your guns were involved in this. But like you just said, it's going to be all about the guns.
Yeah, you know, you could come back and say, "How's that gun-free zone thing working for you, buddy?"
Right.
You know, and how do we end up stopping this guy? Because he was going to kill people as long as he could. How did they stop him? Somebody with a
guy with a gun.
You got it. A guy with a gun showed up and shot him. It's the only way you stop these people. And people go, "Oh, well, I can't believe you say that." Oh, that's the Wayne LaPierre line. No, it was my line way before it was Wayne LaPierre's line. The way you stop one of these bad guys is you shoot the SOB. You shoot him in the chest. You shoot him in the head. You shoot him in whatever part he gives you. You shoot him until he's not a threat anymore. It's as simple as that. It's the only way you stop him.
That's inarguable. I mean, this is what I can't understand about. My coworker is an extremely well-educated, very intelligent person, but he's going on at me the other day about, well, you just wait till Mrs. Clinton's in office and you're going to have to give up all your guns. I said, no, I'm not. Well, but it's going to be against the law to have big guns. I'm like, Sarvesh, do you understand what a 3%er is? Huh? I said, during the Revolutionary War, 3% of the people fought the British.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to think that I'm one of those. I've got the flag hanging right here on the wall in my office.
That drives him crazy, doesn't it?
Oh, it just, you can't. He'll change his mind when I change my mind, I guess, and that's just ain't never going to happen, either one of us. I'm too stubborn, and he's too liberal.
All right, Chuck, you had another question, I think, something else, because I'm going to run out of time here if we don't jump into that.
Okay. You made a remark, I guess it's been a couple months ago, about seeing somebody on TV with a handgun and gripping it with their left index finger in front of the trigger guard. Mm-hmm. I don't understand. That's natural for me. That's the way I've always held a handgun, and I don't. Why did they have the little place there to put your finger if that's not how it's supposed to work?
Well, they have a place on top of the slide for you to put your finger to. It's flat up there. It would be natural just to wrap your finger right on the top of the slide.
You'll lose your finger. The side will take your fingernail off or something.
That would be true. Here's my point. My point is, Chuck, and that's not what it's for. And yes, there are some pistol makers that would put a flat front on it. It's not for putting your finger up there. It's because somebody designed the gun that didn't know any better. And yes, I know Jerry Mitchell does that, and Jerry Mitchell shoots really well. But you know what? And anybody who shoots like Jerry Mitchell, you can put your fingers any dadgum place you want to put it. Okay? Fair enough. But if you want to have the grip that gives you the most control and gives you the quickest reaction time and recovery time, you won't put your finger up there because it's like waving it around in the air. You want to wrap that, if you're shooting right hand, that left hand around the grip so that your left hand is actually holding the gun stronger than your right hand, and you're squeezing the dickens out of it. But to put a finger up there in front of the trigger guard, you have no grip strength left in that finger. That's why I say that that's not what it's for. And I get it. People say, well, it feels natural. Well, of course it does. If you've been doing it all these years, it feels natural. That doesn't make it right any more than, gee, I like to put my finger right behind the slide when I shoot. Well, I did until I pulled the trigger. That didn't work out so well. All right, don't go far. We'll be coming back in just a minute. 866 Talk Gun. I'm Tom Gresham, and this is Gun Talk.
The Ruger American Rifle is a 100% American-made firearm that offers outstanding performance at a great price. Available in standard size and compact models, it features power bedding integral bedding blocks, a Ruger Marksman adjustable trigger, a flush-fit 4-round rotary magazine, and a 3-lug bolt with 70-degree throw. Compact models feature a shorter length of pull and a shorter barrel for a reduction in overall length of more than 5 inches. The Ruger American Rifle, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
The Black Hills. There's nothing like it on Earth. The kind of place where characters become legends. Wild Bill Hickok, Crazy Horse, Calamity Jane. Pick any part of the world and you'll find people go there to make it their own. But this is where people come to get made. This is the place that made the people who make the best ammo on Earth. Black Hills Ammunition.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
Attacks happen every day. How will you react? See real people put into real-life criminal attack situations on First Person Defender. Discover what works and what doesn't. Kidnapping, ATM robbery, home invasion, and other attacks. Learn how to save your life and the lives of your family. Get the entire first season on DVD at shopguntalk.com. Get prepared. shopguntalk.com.
Alien Gear Holsters, the most comfortable and concealable holsters on the planet, is offering big savings with our new 2-holster combo. Now you can buy 2 complete holsters for as little as $49.88. Choose from any available holster styles and colors for the guns of your choice. All of Alien Gear's quality products are made right here in the USA and include a 30-day trial, forever warranty, and free shell trades for life. Visit aliengearholsters.com today.
If you will allow me a slight I told you so. You remember about 4 years ago, I said, well, you know, all you really need to do to move public opinion and to move an election is for Google to tweak its algorithms so that when you do a search on certain subjects, it is slanted, because people vote based on what they know, and what they know is what they are able to discover online. And now we have the story that broke just last week about at least the accusation, and I think it's probably quite true, of Google tweaking the algorithms so that when you do searches for Hillary Clinton, you don't get things like indictments and crimes and all the other things. You do get, favorable results. And I know that people said, wow, that guy's really out there. Yeah, well, that's a whole different subject. We can get on that another time, because, yes, I am really out there. But the truth of it is, all you have to do is change what people know, with big air quotes around, know to be true. You change the information stream. Joseph Goebbels, from the Nazi, knew that. He changed what people heard, he changed what people knew, and was able to create the Third Reich. I mean, really and truly, that was as much as anything was responsible for the success of it in terms of getting the German people behind it. They didn't hear about the death camps. They heard about other things. In this case, Google changes what people know to be true about Hillary Clinton, and people believe it because, well, gee, why? It's Google. They wouldn't do it. Yeah, they would. They do. Facebook, Google, they all do it. What do we do about that? I don't know. I do not know what we do about that. I just don't know. Let's go to East Houston, Texas. Talk to Junior. Hey, Junior, how you doing?
Yes, sir. I was just wondering if maybe you might know as far as if Donald Trump has made any comments or said anything about what happened in Florida.
I don't know. I know he was going to. I don't know that he has. Here, all right, let me ask you a question. What do you think Donald Trump should say?
Okay, I'm going to tell you what he should say. For one thing, I don't think he's going to say nothing. That's why I think he's going to lose the election by a landslide. I mean, he needs to say, we're going to look into it. Let's have dialogue. You know what I mean? Still be for gun rights. I mean, that's as simple as that. The NRA endorsed him. But he needs to say something as far as we need to have dialogue. You know what I mean? Get with the other side. You know what I mean? Try to swing some independent voters. Okay. If he doesn't say nothing, I don't expect him to say nothing, and that's why I'm thinking he's going to lose by a landslide. Okay,
let me ask you, Junior, who are you going to have dialogue with, and what's the dialogue going to be about?
You got to have it with the Democrats. You got to have it. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that.
What are you going to talk about?
I mean, all the incidents that have been happening in the last couple of months. I mean, if they've been happening under supposedly the Obama administration that we all know supposedly they're against guns, I mean, the independent people are going to say, well, if Donald Trump gets elected, I mean, it's going to probably be more, you know what I mean? They're going to take it like it's going to be more bad, you know what I mean, as far as for the nation.
Well, what is it we're trying to get the Democrats, imagine for a minute I'm a Republican, I'm Donald Trump. What is this conversation going to sound like? What am I trying to get the Democrats to agree to or to do?
Well, for one, he should say, yes, this is bad. You know what I mean? What's going on? You know, as far as the murders and so forth. By him not saying nothing, I mean, there's going to be people, and mainly like independents, are going to think like, well, he doesn't really care. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, obviously he's been talking about gun rights throughout. I mean, he's talked about that quite a bit. So it's not that he hasn't said anything. Now, this story just broke about 12 hours ago, as we're speaking right now. He may already, as we're talking right now, he may already have made a statement on it. What would you like him to say about this terrorist attack?
As far as, blame just the individual. I mean, not as far as the individual, put him out there. As far as, he ain't saying nothing. So,
Wait. You're saying he hasn't said anything. I don't know. I don't know that that's true, and we know that he is going to say something. Don't put that aside. I think I don't think that's accurate. I don't think that's fair. He's going to say something. My question to you is, what do you want him to say about this Islamic-based, this ISIS generated terrorist attack on the U.S. soil, and should it actually have anything to do with guns?
Well, I mean, I see your point. I just think he needs to say something as far as I'm just betting that he's not going to say that much or say nothing at all.
I'll take that bet.
Okay. I mean,
your car against my car? you seriously? You don't think he's going to say something? It's Donald Trump. You can't talk. You can't keep him from talking. The guy's just going to talk. He's going to say something, and what he probably is going to say, at least if I were advising him, I would say, look, let's call it a terrorist attack, which it is. Talk about how I would draw the parallel between this and Paris. I would draw the parallel, and then I would say, look, how do we stop this attack? Well, somebody with a gun ended up shooting him, but unfortunately the government required everybody in that place to be defenseless. That's immoral. It's unconscionable that we require people to take bullets because we say, I'm sorry, you can't protect yourself. We're going to require you to get killed for what? I mean, and I'll tell you what, and look, I appreciate the call, Junior. I'll bet you he talks about something like that. I'll bet you Donald Trump says, look, the people in that bar were targeted. They were targeted because they were gay. Anybody that doesn't believe that is living on Mars, okay? So why are we going to tell gays or anybody else who are subject to being shot and killed, murdered, tortured, beaten, dragged, whatever, I'm sorry, you don't get to protect yourself because, you see, we think you should have to call 911 and wait till people show up and maybe a whole bunch of you won't die before they get there. One slapogram coming to anybody who thinks that's a good idea. right, let's go straight to the phones. John's in Fargo, North Dakota. Hey, John, you're on the air.
Hi, Tom. How are you today?
I'm great.
I'll tell you, I have to thank you for all the effort that you put forth over the years to get people like me up to speed and really get our eyes wide open and really think about gun ownership.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Was there anything in particular that grabbed your attention?
Well, your comment earlier, actually, when you were talking about, people starting to watch the internet to watch the ammunition and reloading supplies start drying up again.
Mm-hmm.
I took your advice a long time ago. I'm so far ahead of myself that I can happily shoot for 6 months to a year. I just don't even worry about it anymore.
Isn't that wonderful? You say, I'm good. I know that, if I can't buy any ammo for 3 or 4 months or 6 months, I can still shoot. I'll be able to enjoy my sport. I'll be okay. And, I've been saying for years, just keep buying. I mean, if it's 100 rounds a month, just buy it. You'll turn around and go, hey, I got a pretty good little stock here. I mean, it's not like I'm, preparing for the end of the world. I'm just preparing for the end of availability so I can just keep going down to the range and shooting.
Well, and really the way you just described it, it's called sensible hoarding. It's not called just going out and buying like a madman.
I like it. Sensible hoarding. That's a good thing. Well, I will have to admit, I'm going to come clean. This morning I went online and bought some more ammo. We're sitting there preparing for the show, and I thought, well, I know what's going to happen. I mean, I know it's going to be another Newtown type run on ammo and everything else. So
I'm hoping we're wrong.
I hope we're wrong, but I can't afford to bet that way. So I wanted to make sure we had enough ammo to get through basically the next 6 months to a year. So I just made sure that we got that in. So there you go. Hey, look, I really appreciate the call, John. Thank you so much, and thank you for listening. Hey, Frank's on line 2. He's in New Jersey. Frank, we got about a minute and a half for you, so have at it.
Yeah, Tom, I just wanted to say I'm so upset about this, that innocent people are dead once again, and God bless those that are affected by this, both directly and indirectly. It's been on the news. They're saying it's terrorist-related, no doubt about it. He pledged allegiance to ISIS via a 911 call. They're saying now 50 dead, 53 people injured.
Mm-hmm.
It's just incredible. Michelle Obama said she was finally proud of America when her husband took office. Well, I, on the other hand, have never been more embarrassed about America since they took office. It's ridiculous what this country is becoming. It's an outrage. We need to take back the country.
Let me ask you something, Frank. Let me ask you a question. We know what we get with Hillary. We get a Supreme Court that says you do not have a right to own guns. Simple. Based on that, will you vote for Donald Trump?
Oh, absolutely voting for Trump, because it's different. He's not of the same makeup as, and I would vote for anybody else that wasn't of the same makeup of the Republicans or Democrats that we have now.
ABC, baby. Anybody but Clinton.
That's, it's amazing because the Constitution and Sharia law can't exist together because they both are final stays on a matter.
Yeah, it's a good point. For those who haven't studied it, Sharia law is completely inconsistent with our Constitution, with our Republic. And by the way, anytime somebody says we have a democracy here, you need to correct them. Our country is not based on a democracy. Our government is not a democracy. It is a constitutional republic. Anybody that doesn't know the difference between those needs to be educated. Look, I appreciate the call. I'll tell you what, when we come back, we're going to be talking about different types of ammo, what's going on with ammo. I mean, heavens knows, there are going to be a lot of people buying ammo in the next few hours. You might want to get on board that train. And in the meantime, we'll still be taking calls and comments. 866-TALK-GUN to get you in here. I'm Tom Gresham. We are talking about the terrorist attack in Orlando right here on Gun Talk.